In this video, we turn our attention back to making differences, especially through organizational development and facilitation. But now that we've talked about what learning is, we're going to talk about a learning approach to facilitation. Hopefully, you're seeing that if we want real, healthy, sustainable change that benefits all of us, our approach needs to be much different than the way people normally approach change. One key revelation is that making differences is less about what you do to others or how you do it, and more about who you are. The most effective facilitators and OD professionals are those who are prepared for whatever that moment most needs in order to move it in a healthier direction. We have to prepare ourselves by becoming better people and working to fully understand and accept others. We realize that to change others, we need first to change ourselves. But even this idea is more sophisticated than most people think. Of course, we all know that change will never happen unless we're all changing ourselves. But we also need to realize that just changing ourselves is not enough. We all need to be helping each other to grow. And as we grow together, others are better able to support our own growth. So we start by changing ourselves, and we change each other by becoming healthier people who can empower others to change. As those others change, they'll help us to change, and the virtuous cycle continues so that all of humanity grows together. Now let's consider that virtuous cycle in the context of making differences, such as in the context of facilitation or OD. We know that if we want real, healthy, sustainable change, we have to use a learning approach, which means we need to start with ourselves. How do we do that in the context of facilitation or OD? One way is to start with understanding. In order to change something thoroughly, you need to go through the process of understanding it thoroughly. By understanding things rather than changing things into what you think they should be, you change yourself, which helps you find better solutions for all parties. There are a wide array of things we need to understand when seeking to make differences. 4 notable areas are differences in change, the people, the context, and yourself. As professionals in OD and facilitation, we need to be constantly deepening our understanding of the nature of differences in change. Differences in change are a big part of learning how to learn, and people will be counting on our expertise in navigating the intricate and immense complexities involved. We also need to increase our abilities to understand the people we're working with. Humans are extremely complex, so we need to be constantly working to understand people in general and the specific stakeholders we're working with. We need to learn to value and care about others, and to be sensitive to their needs, situations, and perspectives. And we need to learn how to involve them in the process so that we're co-creating change rather than inflicting it on them. We need to understand the context that we're working in and that our stakeholders are in. There are many facets to understanding all the different types of context and the dynamics that operate within them. And we need to learn contextual awareness so that we can sense and respond to what's going on around us in this moment. And most importantly, we need to understand ourselves, including the role we play, what we care about and our purpose, what's going on within us in the moment, our relationships with others, and how to interact with others authentically and gracefully. To create real, healthy, sustainable change that benefits all of us, we also need to create the optimal conditions for learning. We need to create optimal environments where we feel safe and empowered to grow, and we need to create optimal experiences within those environments that enable and drive our growth. We've already talked about optimizing yourself as the facilitator, but remember that ideally everyone is involved in co-creating the change. So the healthiest change comes when all of us are optimal facilitators. If we can optimize these conditions, we create moments in time and space where magic can happen. For example, when we facilitate change, we must pay attention not only to the content being discussed, but also to the process by which it's being discussed. We call this addressing the meta level, that is, the conversation about the conversation. Many times the reason driving conflict doesn't lie in what we're talking about, but how we're talking about it. When we get better at the how, the what gets sorted out much more easily. Consider what it will take for us to address the world problems we covered in earlier videos. Consider what it will take for us to sort through the generations of issues that weigh down everything we do. How can we address our concerns and achieve our aspirations? Currently, humanity doesn't seem equipped to handle any of this, and our typical attempts are only making things worse. Learning creates the frameworks for change that will be necessary to address all of these problems, issues, and concerns in a healthy and sustainable way that benefits all of us. Imagine that we can create the optimal conditions for learning and get everyone to join us on our journey to become better people and better learners. Learning would enable us to establish the cognitive and philosophical framework and the collaborative framework necessary to work together, developing more accurate understandings of the world and more effective solutions. Additionally, learning would provide us the emotional, psychological, and spiritual framework that we would need to work through the difficult feelings behind many of our issues. And on the meta level, we would establish and continually improve our systematic and strategic framework so that we create healthy and sustainable differences and scale those differences. Learning liberates us, empowers us, helps us reinvent ourselves, and helps us become ourselves. And if we all join the learning journey, we all rise together.